The office holiday party glittered with promise that December evening. Sarah Chin stood near the window watching her co-workers celebrate another successful year at Morrison Financial Group. At 53, she had built an impressive career as regional director, but lately the empty apartment waiting for her felt heavier than any boardroom decision. Across the room, David Matthews adjusted his tie nervously. The 48-year-old senior analyst had joined the company 6 months ago, and Sarah had noticed him immediately. Not because of his quiet competence with numbers, but because of the photo on his desk showing him with his teenage daughter Emma at her soccer game. There was something in his eyes that spoke of struggles overcome and lessons learned the hard way. Sarah had learned through office conversation that David was raising Emma alone after his wife passed away 4 years earlier. He rarely attended social events, always rushing home to be with his daughter. Tonight was different, though. Emma was staying with her grandmother for the weekend, and David's colleagues had convinced him to come. Sarah watched him standing somewhat awkwardly by the refreshment table, looking like he would rather be anywhere else. She recognized that look. It was the same one she wore at these gatherings. Making her decision, she crossed the room with 2 glasses of champagne. "David," she said, offering him one. "I was hoping we might finally have a chance to talk without quarterly reports between us." David's face lit up with genuine warmth as he accepted the glass. "Sarah, I've been meaning to tell you how much I appreciate your mentorship these past months. You've made the transition here much easier than I expected." They fell into easy conversation, discovering shared interests in old mystery novels and hiking trails neither had time to explore anymore. Sarah found herself laughing more freely than she had in months. There was no pretense with David, no corporate positioning, just honest connection. As the evening wore on and the crowd thinned, David hesitated, then said, "Sarah, can I ask you something personal?" She nodded curiosity, replacing her usual professional guard. "How do you do it?" he asked. "Balance everything, I mean. I see how hard you work, how much responsibility you carry. Do you ever feel like something's missing?" Sarah looked into her glass, considering her answer carefully. "Every single day," she admitted. "I built this career, I'm proud of what I've accomplished, but lately I come home and wonder who I built it all for. My sister keeps telling me I work too much, that I'm letting life pass me by." David nodded slowly. "Emma told me something similar last week. She said I'm so busy being her parent that I forgot how to be David, that I deserve happiness too." Their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them. 2 people who had spent years being strong for others suddenly seeing the possibility of being vulnerable together. The party began breaking up around them. As they gathered their coats, David turned to Sarah with unusual boldness. "This might be completely inappropriate," he started, "but would you like to have coffee sometime? Not work coffee. Real coffee." Sarah smiled, feeling something flutter in her chest that she thought she'd forgotten how to feel. "I'd like that very much." Over the next few weeks, coffee turned into dinners. Dinners turned into long walks through the city. Sarah met Emma, who interviewed her with the seriousness of someone protecting her father's heart. Sarah passed whatever test the intelligent 16-year-old administered because Emma hugged her at the end of the evening and whispered, "Dad smiles more now. Thank you." In February, Sarah invited David to her place for dinner. She'd cooked carefully, wanting everything perfect. As they sat on her couch after the meal talking about everything and nothing, David took her hand. Sarah said softly, "I haven't felt this way since before I lost Michelle. I didn't think I could again. I need you to know how special you are." She squeezed his hand, tears threatening. "I'm scared," she admitted. "I'm 53 years old, and I feel like a teenager. What if we mess this up? What if I'm not good at this?" David pulled her closer. "Then we'll figure out together. Isn't that what people do when they care about each other?" The kiss was gentle and full of promise. 2 people who had lived full lives finding something new and unexpected. As they pulled apart, Sarah rested her head on his shoulder. David said carefully, "Emma's spending spring break with her grandparents in Florida. I was thinking maybe we could go somewhere together. Just us. Take some time away from work and responsibility." Sarah lifted her head, looking at him. "I'd love that. Where should we go?" David smiled, that warm smile that had drawn her to him. "I was thinking about that bed and breakfast in the mountains you mentioned, the one with the hiking trails." Then he paused, his expression turning playful. "Though I should probably ask, is your bed big enough for two?" Sarah laughed, surprised by his directness. "Only if you're the one beside me," she replied. David's face grew serious. "I want you to know this isn't casual for me, Sarah. I'm too old for games. I'm looking at you and seeing a future. Is that crazy after just a few months?" Sarah thought about all the years she'd spent being careful, being professional, being alone. "No," she said firmly, "it's not crazy. It's the sanest thing I felt in a long time." They spent that night talking until dawn about hopes and fears, about second chances and the courage it takes to reach for happiness when you thought that chapter was closed. David told her about the darkness after Michelle's death and how Emma had been his reason to keep going. Sarah shared her own loneliness and the fear that she'd traded connection for success. As morning light filtered through the windows, David pulled Sarah close. "You know what's funny," he said. "I spent 4 years thinking my chance at love was over, that I'd had my time and should be grateful for what I had. Then you walked across that room at the holiday party, and everything shifted." Sarah kissed him softly. "I spent 20 years climbing the corporate ladder, thinking that was enough, thinking partnership and titles would fill the emptiness. But it took you showing up to realize what I was really missing. Wasn't success. It was someone to share it with." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the city wake up below. Two people in their middle years discovering that life's greatest adventures don't end at 40. Sometimes they're just beginning. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit you don't want to be alone anymore, that you're ready to let someone in, even if it scares you, even if you might get hurt, because the alternative of spending the rest of your life wondering what if is far more frightening than taking the risk. Sarah looked at David and saw her future. Not perfect, but real. Not without challenges, but filled with partnership. And for the first time in longer than she could remember, she felt completely at peace. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more heartwarming tales. Leave a comment below telling us about your own second chances at happiness. We love hearing your stories.